welcome to episode 5 of Unforced Errors. Today is a big day. We have our first guest, and it's a big one, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, former number 5 in the world, Jake Kusmider.
Happy to be here, guys.
Appreciate you, Jake. Somebody had to take the dive. You know, they had to come on this thing, and I mean, your duper immediately goes down walking through that.
It does. You're used to being a professional, but it's all about being mediocre here. So welcome.
Unforced errors.
Yeah, well, you've seen us make a couple. So I think let's just start with, we'll keep it casual, obviously, but let's give the listeners and the viewers some idea of you. Where are you from? What kind of sports did you play prior to pickleball? And we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up here in Charleston. 26 years now I've been here, and I love it. It's probably one of the best cities I've been to, and no plans to leave currently. Might be heading out soon, but yeah, Charleston's just the best city I've found. Grew up playing tennis was the main sport for me. Swimming a little bit, but
nice.
Mostly tennis. You know, just having that background heading into pickle made a difference for me. Played tennis through high school and tried out college tennis, and that's where it's at.
When did you start tennis? Like, how old were you?
Oh man, I was probably 4 or 5.
Really?
First picked up a racket.
Was it something like your parents got you into, or is it something you were just interested in?
Both parents played college ball, actually.
Oh, okay.
And then their love for tennis kind of just transferred over to me, my brother, and my sister.
Nice.
And I grew up just loving it.
Awesome. So we know you got a brother, and he's also a twin. So
Right.
we'll share that with Carlin.
Yeah.
Who's the more competitive one?
We're both so competitive. That's kind of what drove us to be good tennis players, was playing against each other. Definitely every sport we played super competitive, down to just, kid games that we were just, it was tooth and nail down to the wire between the two of us.
Yeah, dude, I know what that's like from experience. But I don't know. There is something cool about being a twin. It's kind of like being like you have a built-in best friend.
Right.
Even
for
though,
life, no matter what he does.
Yeah.
I've got him. He's got me.
Yeah.
It is nice to have.
Yeah, he actually told us he would come on next. So
My twin?
no, we haven't talked to him.
He doesn't know it yet, but Luke, if you're listening, and you're not, but thanks for agreeing to that. Awesome. So did you both play College of Charleston tennis?
We played at
together?
College Charleston. We just did 1 year of college tennis. Ended up not liking it too much. We still competed in tennis, but the college experience at College Charleston was a little bit tricky to adjust to. And then, after that I found pickleball. Luke kind of came along later with pickle, but
explain that a little bit. Like, how come you kind of went full into pickleball and he kind of stayed with the tennis?
It's a funny story. We were at the gym, I think I was 17, and they were doing pickleball at the athletic center at College Charleston. And there was a bunch of seniors playing, and the whole men's tennis team was finishing up the gym, and a few of us went out to the courts, and it was on kind of hardwood gym floor, temporary nets, and wooden paddles. We tried it out. We played it like tennis. We had a blast.
That's awesome.
And then, one of my buddies on the tennis team, we joked about after tennis turning pro in pickleball. We had no idea how to keep score, how to play. Didn't know what a dink was, but we wanted to, at least explore playing professional pickleball even that early on.
That's awesome. So pretty much anything you picked up, you just immediately are thinking, you have that mindset of like,
any racket sport.
I want to be the best I can at this.
Racket sports, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I could, if I trained, I could pick up a racket sport and
I feel the same way. It's just not true.
Oh, it's delusion for sure. It's a delusion of my end for sure.
Well, you've proved it. You've proved that you're capable. When you first played with like the wooden paddles and whatever, did you feel like you kind of had control of it, or was it just really different?
I felt like, I had a one-handed backhand. There was no grit on the paddle, so just everything super flat. I feel like I didn't have any idea or there was no strategy involved with my game at the time, and still for years afterwards when I would play for fun, no strategy whatsoever. I had no idea what these shots were called that I was hitting, but it was like miniature tennis. So felt natural. And I mean, picked it up fast.
That's cool. So from that little first experience, like how quickly did you go into like actually getting out and playing and like,
because this is before tennis at College of Charleston, so you are obviously
right.
You knew, I guess, in the back of your mind, like I can probably do this, but it didn't really blow up though, like it did until 2020.
Until 2020 COVID.
Yeah.
After college, I tried playing some competitive tennis, played a few tournaments, played the lowest level of the pro tennis tour called Future Tournaments, did absolutely terrible, god awful. And after that, I realized, okay, tennis is just not I'm never gonna be good enough at tennis. But pickleball was still an option, and that's when I started picking it up, was in 2019, and just found a group of older guys that were ex-tennis players, and yeah, they took me under their wing.
At what point did you realize, like, oh, I can probably go pro here? Like, I'm gifted, clearly.
I think everybody, I mean, the guys were way better than me when I first started, but I feel like I started out at about a 4.0 level.
Okay.
I would say about 4.0. And then once I started understanding the strategy behind the shots and really understanding what I was doing on the court, then I started thinking, okay, I could turn pro in this. I'm not sure how much money's going to be in it, but this is something that I could play professionally. And that was like maybe mid 2020.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. It's like it was kind of a sport that was growing and building, and I disc golf, and that's kind of when I got into disc golf, and it was growing like that rapidly. And now pickleball is the number one sport that's growing.
It's incredible.
So you're definitely seeing a lot more money come into the game.
Exactly. The facilities are getting better. Oh, yeah. No more temporary lines and temp nets. It's finally getting some dedicated courts.
Yeah, it's really cool to see.
It is great.
So you started at a 4.0, you're playing with these older guys. At what point do you hit the stride where you're like, all right, I'm getting serious about let's pull the trigger on going pro here?
So the first tournament I played was in 2020. I played the Ep.5 Hilton Head Open and
got fourth.
Exactly.
I did the homework.
Yeah,
I got it.
And I played pro singles, and I think I played 5.0 doubles, went 0-2, lost horrifically. But in singles, I entered in pro, and I lost my first match pretty badly.
And pro is 5. Is it 5.5?
I don't even know if they had that back then. I think it was like maybe just like the open division, because they had 5.0, but it was just the division above that. It was called men's open singles or pro singles. And I got fourth, grinded through the back draw. And that was when I realized, okay, these guys, they're good, but they're not, they're beatable. They're beatable. And so then I started taking it a lot more seriously after that fourth place finish.
Nice. Kind of juiced you up a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just, why not?
It's pretty cool to get fourth in your first tournament.
First tournament. I mean, it was, not a medal, but hey, I had no expectations going into it.
Yeah, that's great.
And I walked away with fourth place.
I mean, it clearly shaped where you were like, oh, I belong here. There's a sense of belonging. It's not like you got blown off the court. You knew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome. So let's say somebody doesn't know anything about being a pro pickleball player. What's one thing that they should know? Give us a behind the scenes of the pro pickleball scene. What do you think is kind of an interesting thing that pro players deal with?
I think the behind the scenes with the pro players is a lot of these players might not enjoy seeing each other too much. There's a lot of rivalries behind the scenes. Players that might not like playing against each other or seeing each other week in, week out. There's a lot of that going on. It's one of the reasons I got out of it a couple of years ago. It's just some of these guys, it just gets repetitive seeing them over and over again. And
would you say it comes from like a competitive?
Super competitive. Okay. All these guys, they want to win so badly. The line calls, if you watch the line calls, they are just horrific at times.
Yeah.
Especially on the outside courts. On the main courts, you can't get away with it as much. But on the outside courts, it gets bad.
Did they have the challenge system back then? I assume not.
So back in the day, you would have a ref on each match, but depending on if the ref, I mean, some of the refs are just, I mean, I like all the refs, but they're good people. But
that's all you need.
And they try their best.
That's all.
But it is tough to referee.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm just like everybody knows. I'm just getting into pickleball pretty much, but I've been recently watching some matches and stuff, and I've noticed some of the players are being like mic'd up, or they have like some parabolic mics and stuff like that, and you can hear some of the trash talk.
Love it. I love that addition. That makes it a lot more interesting to watch.
It does. It's pretty cool. You get to see kind of the emotion and the passion behind it too.
For sure.
As far as when you're on tour, do you have a favorite match, favorite opponent? Both? None?
So I do. I used to always have I would call it almost like a hit list of players that I wanted to beat. And as I got better and better, the list kept getting shorter and shorter, and I started having these wins against these guys. But my favorite player to play against, I always liked playing against Christian Alshon.
Mm-hmm.
I think our games matched up pretty well. Our head-to-head record is pretty close. I think it's 3-3. Definitely favoring him now, for sure. He's playing out of his mind, playing some good pickle. But yeah, back in the day, I liked playing against Christian.
Awesome.
And to go back to your previous point, we just saw he didn't necessarily get along with who was it that they were just arguing with?
Eric on scenes, yeah.
That's it. So that was a big one recently.
That's one of the rivalries. And I think they're playing on the same MLP team, which is going to be a little bit spicy.
So we're looking forward to seeing that. That little tidbit goes a long way in keeping the viewer interested in getting people even started into watching MLP. So that's right. That's going to be awesome. All right, let's talk some strategy, Jake. How do you approach different opponents? How do you change your strategy, and how do you balance power and control?
It's a great question, Frank. I think I always try to scout my opponents, whether it's looking at their duper, whether it's watching them play a previous game. But one of the main things I try to focus on when I'm playing somebody for the first time is just cutting down early unforced errors, making sure serve, returns, thirds are all going in play. I try to extend the points a little bit longer, trying to get a good rhythm before, getting into the heat of that game. But I would say, there's a good balance between, doing too much too early. Always, one of my main strategies when I start doubles is dropping thirds versus driving thirds. Make sure I'm making balls, getting just a good rhythm on the court for those games is a big part of my game. So that helps me. With power and control, I feel like there's kind of a little bit. It's a double-edged sword. You don't want too much of either. And I think that I'm one of the players that prefers a little bit more control than power. I feel like I can create my own power, and a little bit more control, a little bit more spin is something that I usually try to go for in my game, especially early on. Just no unforced errors, not trying to hit the ball too big, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so I think to piggyback off of that, what's your thought process as far as when you're driving a third, when you're dropping a third?
That's a great question. Keeping it low with a lot of topspin. I always tell myself 60%, never go too big on that third shot drive. If I'm in position, I'm usually driving the third shot every time. Forehand, even now on the backhand now with two hands. If I'm out of position, falling back, moving forward, usually I'm playing a drop. Something I've added into my game is a little bit more of a drop drive or a drip on the third shot. Can, start that point off a little bit more aggressively, but it's a little bit more higher percentage than that big, powerful drive.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice, because I know a lot of people just hear you should drop a third, and they just like the player on the left side always takes forehand. If you're righties, there's a lot of bad information out there that people just immediately attach to. So
exactly, and you'll see that. At open plays all the time, you'll see, that's your ball, middle. Well, sometimes, yes, it is. Sometimes it's not. It kind of depends on where the shot's coming from. But yeah, there's a lot of strategy that most everyday, just normal players don't really think about when they're playing. I see that all the time.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about, we had a big segment on one of the episodes about the mental game and how important it is. What's the strategy? You're at a pro tournament. Obviously, maybe things are going really poorly. What's the strategy to get yourself back?
Besides breaking a paddle.
I mean, that's
I've done that a few times.
One. Well, that's fair.
Taking a timeout immediately when you start to feel frustrated is something I do. I sometimes take a little bit more time in between points. I've had the ball in my hand and I've dropped the ball and then kicked it away a couple times. A little gamesmanship there. Not proud of it, but anything to try to reset is something I try to be good at. Wasn't always the case. I used to get really frustrated out there on the court. So yeah, try to stay positive, pump yourself up, and then immediately take a timeout when things are going bad and try to focus on what you can control on the court.
Awesome. Carl, any input here? Anything you want to add into these? I don't want to run the show.
Well,
here.
you know, my mental game is solid.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's definitely a strength of both of ours.
That's the weakest part of my game. And you've seen all the weak parts of my game. And they're very weak.
Yeah.
The mental one is the weakest though.
Yeah. That's when Jake usually goes and gets a coffee. As soon as he sees us in the paddle rack, he hands us the paddles.
I'll say it. I can't watch this anymore, guys. No. I can't watch.
It's so
I need
bad.
some coffee.
Yeah, that's when he takes his mental break.
Coffee and a zinni.
That's it. There we go. Now everybody knows the real secret.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So you've played singles, you've played doubles. I think I have an idea of what you prefer, but tell the people what you prefer as far as singles, doubles, and why.
So I prefer singles. My best results have been in singles. So it's tough to say I don't love it more just because I win a lot more singles matches than I do doubles matches. I've had better results in mixed doubles than in men's doubles. And I think that kind of translates over. Just singles is dynamic. Mm-hmm. Mixed doubles is a little bit more dynamic, especially for that male player. So I'm able to do a little bit more in mixed than I am in men's. But singles is a chance for me to use everything I have on the court, my speed, athleticism a little bit more. Doubles is a little bit more of that chess game, a little bit more. There's more behind your shots, I feel like, in doubles than there is in singles. Singles is a little bit more, I think, easier to understand and play, whereas doubles is just, I mean, I could talk for hours about, hitting dinks. And I tell my lessons that when I teach, it's like, hey guys, we could spend an hour on dinks. Let's move on. But just so you know, there's a lot more going on here.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember when I first started, when Frank got me into it, I remember, hating dinks. I hated the idea of it. I was like, dude, I just want to hit the ball hard, like in tennis or something. I don't want to get up here and dink it around. You know what I mean? Until I started playing with people who knew what they were doing, and then I realized how important it was.
It's so important. I hate it too. But it's a big part of the game. And if you don't drill it and you don't use it in games, it won't come out for that tournament play. You need to make sure you're working on those basic simple shots, but at the higher level, it makes a big difference.
There is a thought process that people think the game is getting faster and the power paddles and the dinking is just kind of going to disappear. But I think Ben Johns would disagree with that.
I think the game has definitely sped up. But at the end of the day, I mean, all four players for the majority of the points are going to be at the kitchen line. And you're going to see, I think as resets get better as well, you're going to start seeing more and more dinks. Resets are starting to get better. I think players are adapting to these powerful paddles, and you're starting to see more extended hands battles. You're starting to see more resets in the middle of hands battles. And it's going back to that softer game. I think the paddles have slowed down a little bit this year compared to last year. So there's going to be a little bit more of those extended long rallies and doubles, which I like. I mean, I think the long rallies and doubles is something that it was kind of how the game was played when I first started, and I prefer that. Kind of lets me, get into that rhythm. And whereas with the powerful paddles, it can be a joke at times. The points can be over with just a serve and a misreturn, which is not fun to watch, not fun to play against. And I'm glad the paddles are slowing down a little bit. They were too hot last year.
Yeah, I tend to find a lot of people that I ask about that have the same response, that they're kind of happy.
Some players love it, but
I think as far as someone who watches the game and plays the game and has passion behind it, I think that kind of slowing down and, kind of using strategy and stuff makes it a lot more interesting than just blasting the ball. And
for sure. Longer points. I mean, better points. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
And it's more fun to play against, play with. And yeah, I mean, you can have, 5 or 6 highlight points a game versus just so many short points and so many quick games.
I've seen you play and you don't need a power paddle.
You don't. Some players do. Some players do. Frank might need a power paddle.
I absolutely need a control paddle.
Still playing with the mod.
Right. Yeah. No mod needed for me. I'm still on the Vatic Prism. Yeah. Well, that's good. But that all goes back to it is like, how do you keep people interested? How do you grow the sport? You have to do what's best for the sport. Of course, playing with a power paddle is fun, but at some point you have to look at the bigger picture and how does this grow? And ending points in 3 shots is not it. People don't want to watch you walk back to the baseline more than they see you at the kitchen line.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's more watchable for everyone. I think if we're going to do something with the sport, I would love to see more grit on the paddles and more spin on the shots. I think there's a lot of potential for some really cool, maybe new shots that players haven't been able to hit before, and more spin would allow for that. Whereas the power, I'm not a fan of that, never have been, but more spin would be a great addition.
Oh, you do see these newer paddles like have a pretty heavy focus on spin.
You definitely see that. And I think at the PPA level especially, you'll see these paddles that are just so gritty. And I think earlier this year, the PPA or the UPA, they decided to take the regulations for grit testing off. So all the PPA paddles that are out there, they're going to be a little bit more gritty. Specifically, the pro player paddles are going to be a little bit more gritty than the everyday, Collins Park player out there. But the PPA's trying to move the game in that way, it looks like.
That's cool. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, we like the gritty. We like the spin a little too much. Keith's working with us to correct that, but that's the whole thing.
Less wrist.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's a little too much of an obsession of ours. I think we will talk about, you brought some paddles. I do want to talk about that. Let's wrap up the pro part here. How long did you end up playing pro?
On and off for about 3 years. So I started 2020, first pro tournament. 2021, I played up until summer where I discovered spike ball. And I quit pickleball for the summer to drill spike ball. And I don't know if you guys know that. Have I told you all that?
No.
Did not. That's insane.
So I was going to start playing spike ball tournaments.
I didn't know that was like a big professional scene.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's less
fun.
than pickle.
It's super fun.
But it is fun. And and then I got back into it that fall 2021. And then first tournament back, I believe I got my first pro medal. And then my next tournament, I got another pro medal. And after that, I was like, all right, full time.
No more spike ball.
No more spike. No more. Back to pickle.
That's awesome.
Sometimes you got to take a break, though.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a point to that.
Dude, I saw some people playing spike ball with pickleball paddles.
See, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That would be really fun.
Now we're going to...
New sport.
Yeah.
I'm down.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about what you've been doing and the post-pro life. I do have story time of how we actually met you, because we did not meet you at Picklebar.
That's right.
We were at that point starting to look for better paddles to play with.
Yeah. And that was about 2 weeks in for me.
It did not take long.
I need a good paddle. Yeah, I just wanted stuff.
And I remember going on Marketplace and seeing, you had like 5 paddles for sale. They were all very reasonably priced. And I was like, I don't know, maybe this is like fake. And I was like, I'm leaving. Like, I was going out of town, and I sent it to Carla and I said, here, you you look at this. This might be like, this is like a very expensive paddle. He's selling this for pennies.
Yeah,
So
no
it's like,
idea.
okay. And so he's like, hey, I ended up meeting that guy. I was like, did you buy it? He said, yeah. And I said, and it's real? And he's like, yeah. He's going to be the pro at the new place that's going to be up near my house. And I was like, pro? I was like, we don't have a pro in Charleston. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And so I remember actually going to West Ashley. Him and I were playing, and you and your brother were there.
That's right. We were probably screaming at each other, drilling or something.
Well, you guys were just dinking, and I pulled up and I called Carla, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the guy because, well, it's a twin. So I'm pretty sure this is the guy. I was like, this is the pro, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, let's see if he's really a pro. And I'm like sitting in my car watching. I watched for like a minute 30. I was like, I'm like, I'm not going to swear because I don't curse on the podcast, but I was like, holy, this is okay. So this guy was not lying. This is a legitimate pro. I'd never seen somebody play like that. And I'm like walking up. I'm like, I don't even want this guy to see me. Like he's about to watch us like serve balls out 9 out of 10 times and be a disaster. But, and then we ended up playing at the Picklebar right when it opened is when we started coming in.
That, yeah.
There was nobody there initially. And then over the summer, it blew up.
That's right. Spring, summer, I knew
it
was our
would,
biggest.
Man. It's such a cool spot.
Yeah, it really is. It's
like when it first opened, we were going there all the time.
We were just renting courts because open play back then. I mean, I think it opened in October of 23.
It was, I think we opened the courts around then. Our official grand opening was in December of 23.
Yeah, I think so.
But we had the courts open for open play before then, I think.
But it's Charleston, and nobody wants to do anything if it's remotely cold at all.
That's right.
So as soon as spring came around, it was like...
Open play was crazy, though. Like, I remember signing up, and you called me one time, and you're like, hey, there's like 2 other people, so we're going to cancel it, or you could just come and hang out. And
dink around. Yeah. I'll hit some balls.
So, yeah, me, you, and 2 other people played. And that was open play. That's how open play used to start. People don't realize now 60 plus
players.
Dude,
but it's craziness.
Which is more embarrassing that I've been playing that long and my game is still absolutely garbage. But hey, we're honest on this podcast.
Yeah, I might be worse than back then.
No.
Especially after these lessons.
Certainly.
Heath knows what he's doing, but it's like I'm trying to break all these bad habits, and it's just like now I'm stuck into like this weird middle ground of like relearning everything.
You're overthinking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Try to don't do too much overcorrection. Small changes go a long ways.
I'm like a 0 to 10 guy. It's like it has to be 1 or 10. There's no in between.
That's tough, Carl. I don't know what to tell you.
No, yeah, I do. I kind of have been focusing on that a little bit more. But these lessons have been pretty cool.
Yeah. So after pro, you joined the Picklebar. How did that form? Did they reach out to you? Were you kind of like, I'm looking for something? Had you already stopped the pro scene at that point? Or were you kind of just looking like, what can I do if I pull the plug from the pro scene?
So, yeah, I've always loved teaching. I taught tennis for most of my career, last probably 6 years or so, taught tennis. And then, the owners of the Picklebar reached out to me back in, I believe, 2021 when I was just emerging on the pro scene. And they were asking if I, wanted to be the head pro at this facility that they were building. And I'd known one of the owners for a while. And of course, I said yes. I was really interested to teach pickleball. Never really done that before. So got into that. Right when I accepted the position is when I started having my best results. And I almost regret taking the position a little bit just because if I'd kept playing, who knows what would have happened.
Mm-hmm. You were in a groove.
I was in a groove, 3 tournaments in a row at the PPA level. Top 5 finishes. I was excited. And then starting at the Picklebar was fun. The facility's amazing. If you haven't been there, go check it out. But yeah, then I started teaching there. Stopped playing too many tournaments. Haven't played a pro tournament in almost 2 years. So that kind of took a back seat. Gonna start playing more now. That's the main goal, is to stop teaching as much. I did resign as the head pro at the Picklebar about a month ago. So switching over now has been great. Been able to drill, been able to play games and start getting my own game back. I did fall off there when I was working at the Picklebar. and starting to get it back now. So
Well,
playing some
pretty
good ball
easy to
again.
fall off when you can't find anybody to play with, right? I mean,
Well, also just watching us play
playing
will
us
make you
is
fall
not.
off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not going to help you get back on the pro scene, Jake. But that's good. Glad to hear that things are working out there and that it was a positive experience.
I felt like you were really good at teaching too, and I felt like you had a passion for
I love
that.
teaching. Teaching is something that I still want to do.
Mhm.
So I'm still giving lessons at the Picklebar, and I'm going to
Okay.
continue to do so while I'm here in Charleston. But while I'm young, while I still got the game, just give it one more shot and see if I can
Yeah, dude.
get some decent results. And yeah, I'll always come back to teaching. I think that's something that I will always enjoy doing. But yeah, while I can, try to get those results back. We'll see.
Yeah, dude. I believe in you.
It's going to be tough for a while, guys. First round quali's lost. It's going to be
We'll have
tough.
you back when you're getting right into it.
Yeah.
3 tournaments in.
Yeah.
We'll see if I can.
We'll immediately ruin your mojo. Just having you back on this poorly run show that we've had to cut 14 times already. But
Yeah.
we're doing really great. So as far as teaching, you've done a lot of that and you've seen a lot of open play. Most common mistake people are making around, say, a 3-5 level.
I would say not getting up to the kitchen line enough. I see at the 3-5 level players that continue to bang the ball and prefer to stay back on the baseline versus getting up to the kitchen line, and realizing that the game is won there. The difference between 3-5s and 4-0s is the kitchen game is just a lot stronger. Hands might be a little bit faster, but a lot of those shots that the 3-5s might not feel comfortable hitting, flicks, rolls, those 4-0 players have drilled it. They've played with it for a while and they've excelled up at the kitchen line. But something else as well to add onto that, if you watch a 3-5 match, the points are mostly finishing within the first 5 shots. The first 5 shots are so big at the 3-0, 3-5 level. At the 4-0 level, you'll see those points start to get a little bit longer. And as you get up further up down the duper chart, you'll start seeing the points get even longer and more exciting. And I feel like the first 5 shots at the 3-5 level are so important, and nobody really takes the time to focus on the unforced errors that they're making in those first 5 shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked to Keith too about this, where it's like sometimes it's like double-edged sword where you're, especially tennis players, they love to stay back at the baseline, but sometimes people just love to crash for absolutely no reason. And that's what Keith is trying to teach us, is like, you can split step. There is an in between.
Exactly.
And I think that's another thing that we're trying to grasp, is like, slow down. You don't have to be running and hitting because it's hard to do. And it's like, watch the shot placement more than, if the ball is high, why would you be crashing? If your partner returns it high, which happens a lot at our level.
Pause, make a reset, then move up.
Right. Awesome. Carl, anything else?
Well,
I've got a few more, but we can pivot if you want.
Well, I was wondering, we've been talking a lot about pickleball for obvious reasons, but if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing if you weren't doing pickleball? Because you said you're transitioning out of coaching or instructing more. You're still giving lessons, and you're going to try to make your way back on and play some professional tournaments. But if you weren't doing all of this, what?
It's a great question.
Spike ball's not an option.
Yeah.
If spike ball's out,
honestly, I'd probably still be in tennis. Not competing as much anymore in tennis, but
would you coach
tennis?
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. Just teaching at a nice club somewhere, but something athletic. I couldn't be at a desk. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Something, whether it's tennis, whether it's another sport, I would probably stay in athletics or something similar to that.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
All right. So I think that's the bulk of the questions, but as people have figured out, we are gearheads, and luckily Jake did bring some gear for us. So
he did.
Let's talk about some paddles that you have access to here.
So earlier I was bringing up the grit difference between paddles on the PPA tour and then paddles that are on the APP or PPA tour, I guess the dual certified paddles. And Joola, which is my sponsor, great sponsor, great paddles. I have access to the pro player version of all of the new Pro 4 paddles. And the difference between the grit is night and day. And it's something I would love for you guys to take a look at here.
Yeah.
So first up is the dual certified Pro 4 Perseus, and still a great paddle. Amazing feel on the ball. Less power than the Gen 3s. But the grit on the surface is just nowhere near the amount of grit that's on the PPA version of the same paddle.
I think you can hear it coming
You
through.
can hear it coming off the, exactly. It's like a nail file. And I believe the exact grit measurements for the PPA or the UPA certified paddles is 5560, which is a lot more than is the dual certified. I think the dual certified is 35 to 40 grit. So it's just a big difference. Okay. And I think some paddles are grittier than others. Just depends on which one. One of these paddles that I had was sticking to my shirt
That's
a couple weeks ago when I first opened it. And then, and you just won't get that at the dual certified level, which if you're a spinny player and you value that grit, then you're going to want to get your hands on one of the PPA paddles, but just know you won't be able to play any tournaments with it. I have to check with the tournament director.
But at this point, you can't really even go out and buy that paddle, right?
Not yet. I believe Joola's opening them up to the public in, I think, May. I could be wrong, maybe June.
Is there a significant price difference, or it's going to be a similar?
It should be the same price.
Okay.
It should be the same price, but they're just letting you know you can't play normal tournaments with it.
But you can play, so they're playing PPA Tour with this.
Every player.
So any tournament around here that would be using the PPA as a standard would be able to use it, or it has to be pro?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. I think it has to be just a PPA tournament or anything that allows UPA as their, governing body or whatever, their set of rules. I think any tournament that allows UPA, you should be good to play with it. But you'll have to double check on that. I'm not entirely sure. But it's a big change. I prefer the PPA version of the paddle. It's just a big difference if you guys want to take a look at it here. Yeah, and there's the Hyperion version there.
Hold this up here, but oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, I can hear the grit from here on that thing.
Yep.
It just makes a difference on the drive, especially. There's the the dual.
Immediately.
It's still got a little grit. It's not too bad, but
I mean, this is standard grit for most paddles.
Exactly. Yeah, that feels normal.
But now when you touch that, I mean, that's insane.
It's insane. I know, you can hear it.
I mean, Joola, if you're listening, we need a couple of these, but
yeah,
I love it.
It's like the grittiest paddle I've ever felt.
So I assume Joola always starts things. Now everybody else is going to follow, but I assume that's going to be the new standard of grit level, especially because there's no cap on spin.
You're going to start seeing a lot more of these paddles just with an obscene amount of grit. I think Proton with the Project Flamingo they've been a pioneer in terms of technology and then adding grit or more grit to their paddles. But yeah, Joola's they're making some good paddles, and yeah, if you're a PPA player, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Thanks for bringing that, because we definitely love some gear around here.
Oh yeah, that has me excited.
If you guys want to play with it, just let me know.
Yes, on Saturday's tournament. I'm sure Max at Pickleball Charleston wouldn't mind, right? Trust me, we still won't place. All right, so we've got about 3 minutes. You want to run through rapid?
All right, rapid fire. Doubles or singles?
Singles.
All right. East Coast or West Coast courts?
I've never been to the West Coast. What? Never been to California.
Well, dang.
Never been
What
out
about
there to
out
play.
west? You were in Arizona,
I've
right?
been,
So-
out west. I like the conditions out there. A lot drier. The ball moves through the air a little bit quicker. Down south, it's a little bit more humid. The ball moves slower, less action on it, tougher to finish the point. So out west, drier climate, for sure. Like playing out there a little bit more.
Nice. Pre-match meal. What are you eating?
I don't eat before a match. Don't eat before a match. Usually just a ton of coffee, pre-workout, creatine. That might be it.
All right. Biggest pickleball pet peeve.
Biggest pickleball pet peeve is when I gotta think about that one. That one's tough. You put me on the spot, man.
We can come back.
We'll skip that one.
One player you'd love to team up with,
One player I'd love to team up with.
besides me and Frank. obviously.
Okay. Gotta think about a left side guy. I think Andre Dasku's playing some really good ball. He's way out of my pay grade. He's an incredible player. Probably one of the, in my opinion, maybe one of the best in the world right now. But he'd be a dream doubles partner on the left side for me.
Nice. We'll make it happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have that kind of pool now with the audience that we have, obviously.
Hardest hitter on tour.
James Ignatowicz. James Ignatowicz hits the ball harder than I've ever seen. Maybe Annalie Waters is next. She's incredible, but James just has insane power. It's tough to play against.
That's awesome. Favorite city you've played in?
Delray Beach. Delray Beach. I've played that tournament a few times, and it is a great city, great nightlife. Food's good, right on the coast. A little bit windy down there, but yeah, best city that I've been to play, Delray.
Nice. Most superstitious habit
Most
On court.
superstitious habit on court.
or whatever.
Or are you superstitious?
I am superstitious. Usually I will always try to serve first in a game. It's not really a superstition, more of a strategy, but always try to, dang, that's a tough question, guys. That's a good one. I'll bounce the ball a few times before I serve. Always try to serve first, pick the side with the win for singles, side against the win for doubles. Always do that first. In terms of superstition, always listen to good music before. Always try to listen to something that's going to get me going.
What is that?
The music?
Yeah, what's the good music?
Man,
You know I love music.
I know. Mr. Brightside, a little bit.
There you
I
go.
knew it.
A little bit of some country,
Nice.
some rock sometimes. Kind of depends on the mood.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but it's a wide array of different music.
That's good. That's the way to be. Last question here, Jake. What advice would you give to young players trying to break into the pro scene?
I would say make sure you try to get a sponsor as much as you can. Reach out, market yourselves. That's what I had to do when I first started. Pickleball is going to be a money pit. So if you're trying to make it on the pro scene, make friends. I think being loud, being a little bit boisterous on court can help you make a name for yourself. But yeah, early on, make sure you're reaching out to different sponsors. And I probably sent out, when I first started, maybe 10 or 15 DMs out to people that, I thought I might have a chance getting that sponsorship with. And then, finally heard back from a couple of them and ended up signing. And from then on, it was pretty easy. But that's something that younger players need to do, or even just newer players wanting to play pro need to start thinking about is, reach out to people. The worst thing that they can say is no.
Yeah, so kind of be like all in with
Right.
it too.
You
Like,
gotta market yourself. You gotta at least, fake it till you make it.
mhm.
Have
Yeah.
the pickleball delusion a little bit.
yeah.
Stay persistent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
delusion's real.
Yeah, it's okay to fail. Just keep trying.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think, we've had some good experiences with you at Picklebar, and know you're solid at teaching, so good luck in that endeavor. And we're going to be your biggest fans for you getting back there and doing some pro tournaments.
It's going to be tough, guys. Just be patient for the results.
Oh yeah.
We'll be there to play back the part where you talked about mental toughness, taking a time out. I'll play it for you on the sideline, kind of loud, maybe distract your opponent. Yeah, you'll lock back.
We'll see. I'm optimistic, but it's going to be tough for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, we're pumped to see it.
That's the delusion, though.
Yeah. No, it's a real thing. Pickleball delusion is real. It does help. I feel like it helps you play better.
100%.
If you think you're better than you are, hey.
Yeah. Go with it,
exactly.
Right? Awesome. Well, Jake, we appreciate you for coming on, being the first guest, dealing with all of our audio woes.
Yes.
I am already beginning to cry thinking about editing this. So, but yeah, seriously, thanks for coming on. And it was awesome to get some credible information, not from us two stooges, but from somebody like you. And like Carl said, we will be rooting for you and definitely going to come check some tournaments out when you're semi-local around here. And wish you nothing but the best. So,
fellas, thank you guys for having me on. This was a lot of fun, and would love to come back.
So we're gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna let you get fully settled back on tour, and then
fully settled meaning what?
Meaning you're back in the full groove.
Okay.
You're back in the swing of things. But even if you don't get into the swing of things, Jake, always welcome back.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd say one main draw win. One main draw win would be. Okay. That's the goal right now.
That's when we'll do it then.
Yeah.
One main draw win. You guys heard it. All right, Jake. So tell the people how they can find you. How can they follow you? If they want to take a lesson or they want to just follow your journey back to the pro scene, how do they reach you?
So just follow me on Instagram. I think the Instagram handle is JakeTK _PB.
We'll put it on the screen.
Perfect. And then, for lessons, just shoot me a DM. I think I'm still on the website at Picklebar, so reach out to me there if you want a lesson. But I'll be trying to stay on the PPA tour mostly, just a little bit more exposure. And be sure to follow me and see how the journey goes. I had an idea to do like a vlog for my first tournament back.
Do it.
We've been telling you.
Behind the scenes kind of vlog, like all the frustration, first round loss in qualies, how many paddles does he break,
People want to see this. I mean, like you're giving us little tidbits throughout the podcast that are great, but I think
dude.
The thing is, how do you balance trying to set up and record stuff and then be mentally ready to play?
Super impromptu. I feel like it'd just be like my brother's going to be there holding the camera.
Get your brother to do it.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly. My twin can do that for me.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But it'd be just raw, unfiltered versions of what every pro probably does.
Yeah,
you have to bleep out most of it, but
we already bleeped most of
the
our
camera a little bit
anyway.
Yeah, no, Keith, I gave up bleeping. I just mark it as explicit.
Has Keith been on the show yet?
No, but he will be.
Okay,
we're gonna get him on here.
That'd be great.
It's gonna be. We've been telling the viewers this is gonna be great TV.
I would love that.
Yeah. We have the lesson out on YouTube. First two parts of the lesson, but he took it easy on us. The ironic thing is, first time that we were using mics and a different setup, we did not mic Keith. Turns out
didn't have
Turns out you don't have to.
He's that loud.
From the baseline, we were still picking him up.
Hey, he's got that,
I mean, we love Keith.
Keith is the best.
So shout out to Fergerberger. We love shouting him out here. He will be probably the next guest, but that's all part of it. But yeah, so well, thank you again, Jake. It's been awesome. We wish you nothing but the best. And that's another episode of Unforced Errors, episode 5. You can like and subscribe if you want, or you don't have to. Either way, we're still going to do episode 6, so it doesn't really affect us, but it kind of does, so please do it. Other than that, Carl, that's it.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, thank you guys. That was fun.
All right. We will catch you on episode 6. See ya.